URC run number 9, folks. Munster hosting Leinster, but it's the away side who goes on for another URC win, and it's a bonus point win, 28 points to 7. Just watched that game here early morning, NZ, not that early, 8:35, but Leinster. I know they get the bonus point win, so you could go talk about the 4 tries, but proper defensive shift. Very, very hard side to break down. Munster, I mean, they threw the kitchen sink at them in the first half in particular. I don't know what they do differently. Do you opt for the threes? Because Leinster were conceding tons of penalties. Do you just keep the scoreboard ticking over? I'm not sure it would have been enough either way, but we'll go through some of the key events and the stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts, but obviously good crowd, festive season. Munster taking on Leinster, it's a big game. The URC's doing well to schedule these kind of rivalry fixtures for this kind of holiday period. And Munster, had the good crowd out, lots of early pressure, but nothing to show from it with these early attacks. They lose a line out on attack early. I mean, Leinster did look dangerous as well when they finally managed to get down Leinster's end. Luke McGrath was looking to snipe, but I mean, Robbie Henshaw's first pass on attack was massively forward, so both sides a little bit guilty of not converting on the early chances presented to them, but Leinster managed to get the first try on the board, and it was that man, Luke McGrath, and it was him with another snipe. After an attacking line-out, Leinster going through a couple of phases, McGrath able to snipe over, so that quietened the crowd down. 7 points to 0 to the men in blue. And then again, when Munster go down the other end and start knocking on the door, Leinster are able to shut them down. Leinster's defence holds. They get a second chance. Munster goes a begging. And the only thing you could say that was looking dodgy from Leinster's point of view was just the sheer number of penalties they were giving away. They were getting pinged a lot to the point where the yellow card warning had to come. It did. And then the winger, Tommy O'Brien, is sent to the bin. So that's Munster's chance to really, I don't want to say put them to the sword, but at least get on the board. But they are unable to get it done. Next phase, Byrne is held up. It's Ringrose who's able to get under him as he's trying to kind of burrow over from close range. So that's a missed opportunity. Then Leinster's scrum, which has been pretty solid, is really starting to, win them some pretty regular penalties. That means they're able to kind of use that to piggyback themselves up into Munster's half. When they get a 5-metre scrum, they get advantage. They go for a 5-metre tap. Porter, who's come on off the bench, not a bad replacement to bring on pretty early. He goes close, and then Prendergast, when they spin it to the backs, is able to just kind of glide through a really silky run. Just a little bit too much space given to that young man. And he puts in a pretty impressive performance against Leinster's second try. So 14 points to 0. They score at the end of the yellow card period. So that is a double kind of hammer blow for Munster. All that pressure, all those penalties, but nothing to show for it. And then no points scored during the yellow card. In fact, you concede 7. Not ideal. I know Munster got a bunch of injuries as well, but still. Turnovers conceded at halftime is 9-3. Munster coughing up a bit too much ball. They've had more territory, 56%. Possession's pretty even, but their line-out has had a few woes. They're only operating at 67% to Leinster's 100. And the penalty count's 8-3. So Leinster have been conceding almost a full game's worth of penalties in half a game, but still nothing to show from it in terms of the scoreboard. Munster start the second half. They win themselves a scrum penalty, which is a good way to get themselves on the front foot. You feel like they really needed to score, and they did get it. It took some work. They had the advantage from the scrum. They went for touch. That got themselves another advantage. They went for a 5-metre tap. They got themselves another penalty. And then finally, Ahern was able to just reach out and get the ball over from close range. So it took some doing, but they did make it 14 points to 7. And that's game on. Because if Leinster keep conceding penalties at the rate they are, like you're only 7 behind, kick a couple of penalties, you're a point behind, maybe. But no, there's some handbags. Not too long later, a bit of pushing and shoving. I felt like maybe that was going to be a turning point because the Munster crowd was absolutely fired up with these guys pushing and shoving each other. They had just not long scored. I thought that was going to be the potential turning point that got the Munster fans and the Munster players to push on, but no. Josh van der Fleer says no. He's able to go over, I think, basically from Leinster's first 22 entry in the second half into Munster 22. So Yeah, I thought Munster had won a turnover just before that try, but no, the ball pops out and Van der Fleer is able to go for a quick pick and go. He's able to show that kind of nous to be in the right place at the right time. So that takes it back to 21-7, and then my brain is flipping from the handbags moment where I'm thinking maybe this is where Munster pushes on to thinking 14 points behind is a long road for the Munster guys to get back. Munster's got a few passes not sticking. Leinster's discipline is starting to get a bit better. And then we get the bonus point not too long before full time, 73, 74 minutes. Caelan Doris. And he's a hard man to bring down. Earlier on, Caelan Doris had in their own half, a big carry where he's really upright in the carry and you're thinking he's probably going to get held up in the tackle and turned over, but he just keeps driving those legs. He's such a hard man to bring down. He does the same thing on attack, through some tired Munster bodies with a bit of support. I think Porter pushing him, shoving him from behind. Bonus point try, 28-7. We did get one bit of TMO action towards full time where they were checking if there was a Leinster try, but there was no evidence of a grounding, so not given. So yeah, Leinster able to kind of get away with this one, walk away with this one from Munster's ground with a pretty comfortable bonus point win in the end. They never really looked like losing it. As I said, it was just threatening to be game on from a Munster perspective, but Leinster just pulled it away. Run meters finished 315 to 300, so nothing really in that. Position and territory are still pretty tight, but Leinster in the second half did dominate the territory, 66-34 in the second half. Like overall, the course of the game was 53-47, but Munster had more in the first, Leinster had more in the second. Munster also don't have as much possession in the second half too. The defenders beaten us 20-29, so Leinster with more of those. Clean breaks 10-1. That's crazy. Lopsided. Leinster's lineout's better. Their tackle percentage is higher. They only conceded 12 penalties all up, so only 4 in the second half compared to the 8 in the first. So 7 for Munster was a bit more of a kind of even spread. Mike Haley had 100 metres from the back for Munster. Osborne had 56 metres. That's Jamie for the Leinster lads. But Josh Van der Fleer, 19 tackles. Caelan Doris, 19 tackles. Big defensive shifts. Doris also broke 5 tackles, which is nuts. McGrath, a couple of clean breaks. Coombs had 18 tackles for Munster. Like, he had a moment early on in the first half where Billy Burns cross-kicked it to him, and then he pops it from the deck, but the supporting player, was it Daly? Hits his knees. Or was it Nash? Yeah. Just missed chances, eh? They needed those kind of X-factor moments to stick, but Leinster make it hard to make them stick. Munster are away to the Dragons next, so they'll be looking to bounce back, and Leinster are home to the Stormers. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Leinster still with a perfect season in terms of their win-loss record being all wins in the URC, and their defence is looking really hard to crack. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Season's greetings to you all, because it's a bit of kind of post-Christmas rugby. But yeah, take care of yourselves, and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.